Our fourth and final speaker of the program is Wagner Kuhn, Professor of World Mission and Intercultural Studies, and he's going to talk about scholarship and world mission.
Thank you. Partnership as mission, advancing scholarship through publication. I will try to bring together a little bit of several things that I have done in the past years as an example of partnership. And this, of course, it doesn't encompass everything that I have done. No, this is just a little bit of the many things that I have tried to do. And many of them I have done alone. You know, many articles presented in conferences and published in books and journals. And 2 books in English, another 2 or 3 books in Portuguese, written by myself. But what I'm going to share today is partnership. Partnership is a great thing, and I think we have to do a little bit more of that. This presentation then provides a few examples of how creative scholarship can be advanced through presentation in mission conferences, teaching and training curriculum, and academic publications. The result of academic partnerships advanced through presentations, training, and publications can be seen in various levels, especially in what I'm trying to present here today. In creating awareness, in promoting and organizing mission conferences, in implementing innovative mission projects, and also in establishing long-term mission training programs. The following 3 books are examples of successful partnerships, and these 3 books have been published here at Andrews University. The first one is Passport to Mission. The second, The Book and the Student, Theological Education as Mission. And the third one, Biblical Principles for Missiological Issues in Africa. So the first one, and the one that I'm referring mostly, is the 3rd revised edition, which was published here by the Institute of World Mission in 2009. You can see the authors there. Some of them are part of Andrews University: Eric Baumgartner, Cheryl Dawes, John Deepdall, Pat Guston, myself, Lester Merklin, and Bruce Moyer. Amazingly, this book has been published in English, 3 editions already, in Spanish, Portuguese, Russian, and Korean, with more than 30,000 copies sold. When I came to Andrews in 2005, I was tasked with trying to internationalize Passport to Mission and to also see if we could partner with other divisions and universities and places to publish the book in different languages, since this is the main academic textbook and also a more or less professional textbook for the training of missionaries, you know, cross-cultural missionaries, overseas workers, medical workers, nurses, professors, ADRA workers, etc. around the world, mostly for the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So, the first contact that I did, being a Brazilian, yes, thank you, Carla, you mentioned about, performing in the capital of Brazil recently. Being a Brazilian, I decided to talk with the South American division, whose headquarters is in Brasilia, the capital there. Finally, I was able to get it through. Some people, they supported the project, and we were able to translate. I was one of the translators with the help of other people, and it was published in Portuguese, and it was published in Spanish, and then following was published in Russian and also in Korean. So this has been, several years on the making. Because I worked also in the former Soviet Union for several years in the 90s until the early 2000s, I had a lot of partners made there through the time I worked there. So eventually I contacted some of my acquaintances there, and we were able to publish Passport to Mission in Russian, as you can see here. And as you can see, why do we have all of the covers of Passport to Mission the same? It happened the following. When we decided to publish the 3rd edition in English, we did not have this cover. But at the same time, South American Division in the Brazilian publishing house was publishing the Spanish one and the Portuguese version with a new cover. So this cover that now we have in the English version and in the all other versions came from the Brazilian publishing house, and they donated to us, so we did not have to pay any design or layout, or professional to do the cover. So this is another good partnership that is helping the whole of this project. It has become the main textbook for training in cross-cultural mission work all over the world, and as I mentioned to you, we have this in 5 languages now. There is a 6th language in French as well, but it's not published as yet. The result of these partnerships relate with creating mission awareness, the development of teaching and training curriculum, as I mentioned, for mission, the subsequent organizing and hosting of mission conferences, and the production of relevant resources, in this case books, for mission and ministry. An example of this, as a result of these publications, has to do with the publication of Passport to Mission in Spanish. In 2010, I was invited to go to Argentina to do a training of 30 hours for medical students, as they were trying to place these medical students in different countries, both for internships and for also as professionals as they graduated. At the time I was there for these 30 hours of training, the Spanish edition had just been released, and the first 400 Passport to Mission books were placed in the hands of the medical students at that time of the conference. So as we were doing the training, one of the dean of the School of Medicine asked me, "Wagner, I see here in the book the Go conferences that you have done at Andrews in the 90s. Explain me more about these Go conferences." So I explained to him, and he immediately invited me to his office after one of these days that we were going through the whole day to plan. And he said, "I want to have one of these conferences. Can you explain me more?" So I explained to him how it worked in the past, the ones that I participated here at Andrews when I was a student years earlier. And I said, "Listen, I'm trying to do this conference, but it's hard to get the vision across. Why don't you do this first international conference here in Argentina at the university in River Plate there?" And he immediately jumped into this. And he planned for the following year at the same time to have this mission conference. So here you see, we had this training in 2010. We talked about this. A physician embarked in a dream. And in 2011, we have the first I Will Go International Mission Conference there in the university. It was an amazing conference with more than 30 countries represented, and part of that about 1,000, close to 1,000 students. These are conferences for university students who want to be missionaries. And then the second one also in Argentina again, you see, 2013. And then we had another one in Colombia. And I was part of most of all of these conferences except in Peru here. Then again in Peru. Then we had one in North Brazil, a more regional conference, was not an international. And recently we had a huge one in Brazil. It took 5 years for Brazil to catch the vision as well. And some of you know that Brazil has the largest membership of the Seventh-day Adventist Church today. So there is a tremendous potential there. And already another meeting planned for Argentina in 17. So this is a good example of partnership. The second example I want to bring is a neat project that I have done here with students. Actually, Dr. Kuhn and I were walking together at Andrews, going from the administration to cafeteria, and we were talking about different things, and suddenly it hit me to do a project with doctoral students. Because of that conversation, I don't know what he mentioned, I don't remember, this was around 2009, 2010. So I gathered several of the students, most of them Brazilians, and I said to them, listen, we have to do a book together. So we worked very, very hard. The students planned with their teachers in trying to publish papers for specific classes, and these papers, with the help of the specific student and the teacher, that both of them helped each other, would come to a book. So eventually we put this book together and published in 2012. It's a collection of essays prepared by graduate students, as I mentioned. It was also a Festschrift, honoring a theology professor that was a professor for all of us in this project in the past. It was an opportunity for students to publish, this is Andrews. Andrews provides this opportunity, and I love Andrews for that as well. And many books disseminated, and also income generated through this book. As you can see, this is the book, the cover of the book there, and the back cover as well. These are the chapters. You can see is a book with about at least some 350 pages. And many of these books, at least 500, have been sold in Brazil, because most of the students were Brazilians, and thus with a very positive result. A third project, it's another book, Biblical Principles for Missiological Issues in Africa. Edited, the previous one was edited by myself alone. This one is edited by myself and Bruce Bauer. Published again here at Andrews. And we had another 5 associate editors, Dioy Cruz, Samuel Macori, Obert Mudzengi, Tom Ogal, and Joseph Otieno. What we did was putting together something that was mostly written by Africans. We don't have a lot of resources in missiology and theology in Africa. So we decided to do something that was done by themselves. I brought this idea as the students were defending their doctoral dissertations, a cohort of the Doctoral in Ministry program at Andrews. They were defending, we spent 2.5 months in Kenya with 28 students. So we decided to put this book with the best chapter 2s of their dissertations in a revised, edited format into a book. So out of 28 students, we chose, I think, 16 of the best chapter 2s, which was the theological biblical reflection of a specific missiological issue in Africa. And this came about. This is the book. We published close to 1,000 copies. Almost all is gone. So again, a good income and good dissemination of resources. Here are the chapters of the book. Oh, sorry. Let me go back here. Here are the book divided into 5 parts. Mission and family issues, as you can see. Mission and church growth. Mission and pastoral care. Mission and healing. And mission and church identity. It's such a neat project, and the result of this, the dissemination of this book in Africa was just published this year, in February and March. We went there for graduation, Dr. Andreessen, Dr. Bauer, and myself, and we were able to bring a a good load of these books, I think about at least 20 boxes. And it was distributed there, was sold there, and still we have some being sold in Africa. And I have another couple of articles that I have partnered, and I just put two here with other people. This first one has written by a doctoral student and myself. We work quite a lot in this article, and then it just appeared in the Ministry magazine. It's Adventist Mission from Awareness to Engagement, parts 1 and 2. This is an article that the student and I looked at, an article that was published by Dr. Gottfried Osterwald. He was a professor here at Andrews for many years, and he published an article in '74 about 100 years of Adventist mission, and he did a major assessment of the first 100 years of Adventist mission. So Marcelo and I decided to do a complementary, building up an assessment of on the next 40 years of Adventist mission. And the result, it's there, it's been published in Ministry magazine in 2 parts, and I think was something that very, very neat that I was able to do with a colleague, with a student. And the last one is an article written in partnership with another colleague, but from a different perspective. We both presented in a conference, in an international Bible conference in Africa, in Angola. And the Biblical Research Institute of the General Conference asked us to write an article. So instead of writing an article myself and himself, we decided to write one piece, but 2 persons doing it together. And this is an article called The Incarnation of Christ, Mystery and Model of Mission. And this is very interdisciplinary because we try to partner him with a biblical theological background and me with a more missiological background. And it's forthcoming. It's going to appear in Preach the Word, a book edited by Arthur Stelle and will be published by BRI. Yes, results have been presented. This is evidenced. Conferences, publications, commitment, and engagement. The reach is local, national, and international. And yes, it is possible. Andrews has provided that opportunity, and I thank you for that.